how do you ensure that the focus is on feelings? And I mean that both in terms of, like I said, you make features, so you're dealing with studios, and you run one of the most successful production companies in the commercial world.
Thank you.
So you're dealing with clients, you're dealing with agencies. How do you articulate that? Because I don't know about you, I think it's one of the most important conversations to have day in, day out. How do you navigate that?
Thank you for that. I want to say one thing before. I think we all live and you guys, I think you are very fortunate to live in a time where there's so many avenues, so many screens, so many places, so many channels you can put your work on. It's incredible. When we, in the old days, you did it and you put it on one screen and, a couple of channels, that's it. You can do anything you want. So, and the technology is incredible. You can pick up, I don't want to sound like an old fart, but you can really take your iPhone and do whatever you want. You can do anything. So it really is out there for you, for all of us to take and just go do. So the old, you can't really have any excuses. But I think to your question, and that always was always I always remind myself of that. Nothing good comes out with bad writing. Nothing. If you don't have good writing, nothing will come out good. And the writing starts alone in your room somewhere with an idea. So if the idea is not great and the writing to follow it is not great, it's not going to come out great. And that's really the fight is there to fight it before production starts or before you have a director shoot it on Alexa or 70 millimeter or IMAX or whatever. It always starts with the idea, and I think we all know it. And the interference now is so immense because everybody has an idea. And I think our job now as creators and creatives, and this has always been the case, is really to protect the writing. What can we do in order to protect it? And what is it we can do in order to make sure that when we are actually sitting and having the brief or having the idea, or whatever, what is it we're trying to say? I think when the studio system started, it was basically you went to Mr. Whatever, and you went like, I like it, let's do it. So two guys in the room, and they looked at it, and they're like, yeah, it's good. I think I want it. And that's how great films were made, because somebody liked it. Now, I'm not saying that not great films are being made, but very few and far apart. And the reason is because there's a lot of people have to have and that's really just the reality. You can't just say, well, I wish it wasn't. Okay, that's the reality. But also our job is to it becomes a lot harder, but it's to keep pushing through that system and say, believe in it, this is what it is about. It's about that. So if you protect the writing, don't protect the director, don't protect the production company, don't protect yourself, protect the writing. Yeah. Then you have something great at the end. But you cannot expect something that is, is sort of cobbled together and changed 1,000 times from the minute it left your mind. It was great. And it got to finally to make it. And it now has been reshaped from a circle to become some amorphous geometrical shape now, to become a circle again. Yeah. It won't.
Your work is very eclectic. I mean, even just looking at your features, to go from your first feature that's about human relationships and interactions to then your second feature being raw 300 and everything in between, and that's very reflective of your commercial work. I'm interested to know, what is it, I've got a feeling I know the answer to this, particularly with what you just said, what is it when an idea or a script comes on your desk or in your inbox? What is it that attracts you to something to begin with?
The cash.
That's exactly the depth I was hoping for. Brilliant.
I'll answer it in a slightly different way. You know, when you start out, I think you always look for the 10, the best script, the best book, the best idea, the best everything. Well, newsflash, it does not exist. It just doesn't. There's no 10. I don't think even Steven Spielberg gets a 10. Because they just they're not really there. So the trick is, how do you take a 7 and make it a 9? Or how do you take a 6 and make it an 8? And so on and so forth. So that's really our job. Our job is not to take something and to take a 10 and make it a 10. Usually you take a 9 and make it an 8. That's usually what happens. In my case, a 9 to 6.5 or something like that. But you know, this is really what it's all about. It's about trying to take something and plus it. And the only way you can plus it is if we do it all together. Yeah. And this is the next thing I want to say, which is really, how do you choose the thing? You choose a thing because you think you can plus it. Yeah. Because you can think there is a team together, they can look at it together. It is a collaborative effort. And I want everybody to remind ourselves is that it is a collaborative process, collaborative thing. You know, we have to do this together. Yeah. Because, you know, so that's how you choose. You choose something by its potential, not what you have on the page at the moment, what it can be. So I look at the script and I go, well, some of them come in and they're just dead on arrival. There's nothing you can do. I'm sorry. And then you go, I don't know how to help that. That has to go to a different ambulance. But some, and most of them, have a lot of pulse in it. And it's like, you know, it's like you take it and you go, oh, I see what this can be. And then if we all are open to have a discussion, you know, the famous old conference call, right? And what happens on a conference call? You go in and you want the job and you'll say anything. I would. To get the job. And that is the killer of anything great that can happen. Because then it doesn't become conversation anymore. Yeah. And what it needs to be an honest thing, and it needs to be, wait a minute, there's something here, I see it like that, and what can it be? And if we are listening, if we're better listeners, and we actually have a conversation on that call, and go, what can it be? And I know the client is not there. We're all scared about what's going to be and what he said, because we saw this 6 months down the road, and they're going to do it. If we include all these people, and I go back to your question about the studios and all that, I find it really, really, really helpful, especially now. If you go and you include everybody in that process, and be honest about it, not say, hey, look, I'm going to change it behind the back and the window. Go, look, we thought about it, and maybe this could be this, and it's 10% better than when it started, and maybe there is a chance that we can push it up. But honesty and conversation really is what it's about. So maybe there is a way to plus it only by conversation. And again, it's all, choosing a script is what it can be, not what it is.
I got you. Could you talk...
Does that make any sense? Or not?
That make sense? Yeah. Thank you. Could you talk a little bit to music? Because I know how important that is to you. Funny enough, that first job, so our trick was, I say our trick, I'm taking credit for something, it wasn't me at all, but we had a client who was obsessed with using, any John Legend fans in the audience? Good, I can rag on him. Fucking John Legend. Which I'm sure is great in concert, but not on a fucking film. And they were adamant this is what they were going to use. And do you remember, you just played the track that we liked over and over and over again on the set. So that by the end of it, when we played it to them in the edit, they were like, oh, we really like this. Just a little trick, in case there's a piece of music that's not going through. Yeah, could you talk a little bit about music?
That's a trick. Final piece. Here's the interesting thing about music, and I think in that context. And I always say it, don't ever sell a piece of music before you shoot. and I see it over and over and over again. People buy $1 million song and try and go, that'd be great. And then they shoot. And then they should have bought the $30 song because it works a lot better. Public domain. Music is great for inspiration and creation, but not as a final product. Keep it in your pocket. It could work, and sometimes it does. But a lot of times, the final music is something that has to work together with whatever you shot. It's all a living organism. So if you're going to go and commit to a $2 million song, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be right for what you actually shot or what is the end product. It was great on a piece of paper. It was great when you're presenting it. And music is 80% of everything we do, you know? Everything. I can take anything that anybody shot, as bad as it can be, and change everything you think about it with the right piece of music.